Success Insight shares the stories of the people with passion and drive who make things happen in the world. Here's your host, Howard Fox.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Success Insight podcast. Today's episode is another addition to our Outdoor Adventure series. Our guest today is Pete Ducato. Pete is the founder of Luno. I'm going to let Pete describe what is Luno because it's very near and dear to my heart, and it helps me do a lot of the things I enjoy doing outdoors. But let me give you a little background first about Pete, and I'll let him share what Luno is all about. Pete is an industrial designer by trade, and he has been in the product world for the past 10 plus years. He has started a multidiscipline design firm called STEL, and he has been really developing products for a variety of industries. And one of the key things about this background is he has learned how to bring products to market. And this is especially timely for our conversation because this is the Outdoor Adventure series, and we're going to hear more about Pete and his new product adventure. And without further ado, Pete, welcome to the Success Insight podcast, Outdoor Adventure series.
Thanks for having me, and I'm happy to be here with you.
Fantastic. Now, as I kind of alluded to in my intro, Luno is very important in not only your work, but it's helping me enjoy my outdoor adventures. But before we get into Luno, perhaps you can go a little deeper into this work of industrial design and learning, really not only the products, but also you have quite the entrepreneurial spirit. As we were reading from the show notes, I thought, this is good information because it's always nice to hear the background of our guests and how they got to where they are today. So share a little bit about your background and let's go from there.
Excellent. Luno, being a car camping company, that's not where I started in my career. And I am an industrial designer by trade. So I grew up in the Midwest near Chicago, and I was working in a medical design field to begin. And there was a lot of rigid procedures that were happening in my career in the development process of bringing those products to market. But I was soon approached with an opportunity to move out to the West Coast. And it was a dream of mine. I actually, in college, decided not even to study abroad, to take on an opportunity on the West Coast to go design and be in the space. So when an opportunity presented itself to be out here full time, I jumped on it and I haven't looked back. You brought up STEL, and that's a good place to start. So when I first moved out to California, I am one of the founders of a product design agency, and we help develop products for a variety of industries. And it was here where I learned to bring product to mass market while working with other entrepreneurs, small businesses, Fortune 500 companies. Some of these companies involved Under Armour, Sonos, Nomad, Bosch, Fitbit. And I enjoyed these fields of consumer electronics. And I also started to develop stuff to continue in the medical industry, sporting goods. But there was always a love for the outdoor space. And bringing the blend of mechanical engineering, industrial design, graphic and branding and product strategists together, we were truly able to develop products from a sketch all the way through manufacturing. And then we also assisted in the marketing. So this is where my love of creating clever ideas that were intuitive and usable by people, and we brought experiences to the market that were enjoyed by so many in so many industries.
Fantastic. Now, I have to ask, when you moved out west, was it for the purpose of just being out in the great outdoors, the mountains, the ocean, or were there other reasons why you had this pull from the west?
Yeah, I grew up playing sports my whole life, and I knew that I needed a balance in my life too, as I jumped into my career. So college, it was a hard time of just being solely dedicated to school. I didn't really come from an opportunity where I could just breeze through school. I went into school having to pay my own way through, and I didn't really have access to outdoors. So I kind of lost the activity part of my life during that time. And when I came to the West Coast, I saw, hey, I can have a career. I can be outdoor more than ever with the consistent weather. It's a space where tech is just booming. Opportunity for entrepreneurship is there. And the culture of the outdoor community is ever present. Not to say that it's not like that in other states, but I just fell in love with some of the friends and groups and times we had during my first months and years here.
Fantastic. Now, where did this love of outdoor activity or outdoor adventure, where did that come from? And how did you incorporate that into your lifestyle?
When I first drove across the United States from Chicago to California, I ended up sleeping on the couch of a connection that I made here. So it was a friend. Actually, it was a friend from school.
Couch surfing. Oh my God. I'm sorry.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a couch surfing app even out there, I think, growing. But I was involved in a community right from the start. This group of great guys that I had in the home. And I think I arrived on a Wednesday, and by Friday, we were planning to go up to Big Sur. And we all took a sedan, a small vehicle, 4 of us in there. We had our sleeping bags and tents. We drove on the coast of the Highway 1 up north, and I was blown away at the scenery. I have never been to a coast that was that beautiful, or barely even experienced the ocean outside of, maybe like your typical beach setting. It really opened my eyes to, wow, what access we have in the United States even to enjoy this beauty and to be present with a group of friends and to enjoy what this nature has to offer us. And I took that back with me, and I was like, man, I had to put more of this in my life. So I would say that's like the first experience that kind of gave me the draw to continue to pursue this lifestyle.
So with this lifestyle of being outdoors, and by the way, I totally appreciate 100% what you've shared. And, for myself, moving out west, here I am in Vegas, the love of the stars, being out into the outdoors and just it being quiet and just sitting back and relaxing. It's breathtaking. And so I appreciate that and wanting to incorporate more of that into one's life.
Yeah.
I think we should all have that as a desire that we can kind of make a reality.
Mm-hmm.
As you were involved with the design and getting these products to market, the love of the outdoors, when did the pull of the entrepreneurial spirit start to take shape and for it to then become Luno Life?
Yeah. So after developing ideas with so many intelligent people in the industry, in the variety of industries that I mentioned and the categories that we were involved with, we saw opportunity to say, hey, we can do this. And where is there a space that we all enjoy? And that's the outdoor space. And that's a category that we wanted to focus on. And I was taking a trip up to Mammoth often to go snowboarding. It was early spring in March of 2018. So I was about 3 or 4 years into the product design firm. And I was taking these solo trips, and I was sleeping in my vehicle because I didn't want to pay for a hotel or other accommodations that maybe costed, anywhere between 150 to 250 a night. I was only going to be there for maybe 2 to 3 days. So as an individual, that's a pretty pricey tag to put on you for the weekend.
Sure.
And sleeping in my car seemed like a good opportunity, but it was snowing out. So I was like, okay, well, the car is my only opportunity because a tent, it would be doable. I'm not saying I couldn't do it, but the car just seemed like a more viable option at the time. So I was sleeping in the back of the vehicle at night. And that's where the idea was born. As I said, there has to be a better way to do this because I was on a hiking sleeping pad trying to store gear in the footwells of the vehicle. And it was just not the most comfortable and convenient way after a long day of boarding or an activity. So that's kind of where the idea started and continued to there.
As this idea started to evolve for you, what were the steps that you began and how did you then begin to incorporate others into this vision of yours? Because I love the fact, again, product design, you have a unique perspective of talking about ideas, a lot of creativity, and eventually things start to take shape. You start to build these products, test them, and then you go into the branding, the marketing, the sales, et cetera. How did you begin to incorporate others into this vision with you?
That's a great question, Howard. And I would love to touch on this because I'm a creator and designer by trade. So my focus is on the product. And that's where I start with the companies that I consult with, but also the brands that I want to start, like Luno. My intentions when I create a brand like Luno is to focus on the product first and creating the best product possible for fellow car campers. And that translates to who I look to involve and bring on board with Luno in the early stages. So I sought out designers before I sought out any business or logistics or inventory or whatever category out there that also is very valuable to a business. I approached creators first. So one of those first persons that I approached was Sarah, and she's another co-founder of the company, and she is graphic designer by trade, but she is amazing in all marketing and branding. And we started working together in the early stages. And the next person I approached was Allie, who I believe you will talk to both of them, and I look forward to hearing from them as well on this. But she is an industrial designer by trade, and she was brought on because she had amazing background in product strategy and industrial designer in some of her previous experiences, but she also had a passion for the outdoor space. And that's something we shared and we all could bring together in the early times of starting with Luno.
I love the way you've started to assemble the team and your perspective of where to start. And many of us, as entrepreneurs, either we don't have the business experience or we know we want to do something different and we just kind of, jump into the stream, which in some cases that can be good. In some cases, not so good. But I love the way you've described assembling this team. It dawns on me too, is we haven't explicitly described what Luno Life is. However, what I'd like to do before we do that is you mentioned the term car camping. From your perspective, would you share with our audience what is car camping? And then let's incorporate Luno Life and what this very unique product is and how folks are beginning to take advantage of it. Folks just like me, by the way.
Yeah, excellent. So car camping to us is about using your own 9-to-5 commuter vehicle. So there are a lot of vehicles out there, the van life, RVs, trucks, you name it. But we like to think of car camping as taking your 9-to-5 commuter vehicle and using it to sleep in these designated areas, whether it be BLM or campsites or even properties, across the way, like Hip Camp, for example. And we've taken this idea of car camping, it's turning into a sport that involves overlanding. So you have the more extreme version of car camping, which we would call overlanding. And that's getting outside, on these unpaved roads and taking these road trips and adventures in your own vehicle, and then using that vehicle to call it your home when you get to your destination. Luno is building out an ecosystem to supply that car camping sport and experience from the beginning here.
And for the car camper, and I would put myself into that category, describe what was the problem again, what Luno Life is solving for this individual or couple. I imagine there are a variety of demographics. I mean, it's not just young kids right out of college, but it's folks that are perhaps a little bit older. And maybe we can talk a little bit about some of the stories you're hearing. But what problem has Luno Life begun to solve or has solved with its product?
Yeah, that is where the idea was born. We saw a big movement in people hitting the road and wanting to sleep in a very comfortable and safe place when they arrived to their campsite, wherever that may be. We knew that there were barriers of an investment to buy a van or to even build out your own vehicle by taking trips to Home Depot or other facilities to buy wood and build out these structures in the back of your car. So we said, there has to be a convenient, comfortable, safe way to supply a solution to this. And we didn't want to inhibit the ability to use a vehicle during your normal work week. We wanted to give people the chance and opportunity to experience this lifestyle with all the resources that they already had in their home by offering this air mattress. And it's not an average air mattress. We like to say, it packs down into something that's 2 feet in length, and it can be stored in your trunk or in your closet at home. And it gives the people the ability to enjoy these outdoor places and knock down these barriers of only having opportunities to maybe sleep in a tent and offering up an experience that maybe you've never had before or you never thought was possible. And so that is like our ultimate goal, is to continue to break down those barriers and, involve different people of different ethnicities and all demographics of all ages, like you mentioned, Howard, and provide the best possible solution and the most comfortable and convenient and safe opportunity for people to get outside.
I have to share when I moved to Las Vegas, Pete, last year. It was right around June timeframe, and I had said to myself, okay, first I need a car, because I drove west in my car. It was a 20-some-year-old Honda Accord. God bless it. It was a great car, but I needed something new. And I started to investigate, and I discovered, the Subarus. And I fell in love with this cherry red Subaru Crosstrek. And then I began to say, okay, how can I go out and spend a night? Because that was my goal. I wanted to be able to spend a night. And that's where I discovered the Luno Life mattress. And what was really cool about it is that first night out there, and I have to admit, I'm only using half the mattress. And perhaps that's another conversation we can have, because it presented another issue. Is the Crosstrek, it's a great car, but there's a limit to the storage. And so that's a problem I'm actually working to solve right now. So I should use your industrial design expertise to help me solve that problem. But
that's great.
There's something unique about this. What I loved about the Luno Life is it's not just the mattress, but as you're making the car as spacious as possible, you have some design elements, specifically around the head, and so that night in the car or 2 nights in the car can be as comfortable as possible. How did some of those design elements come about? And because a lot of folks would have stopped at the mattress perhaps, but you went beyond that.
Yeah, it's an excellent question. We kind of drawn it back to the team we brought together in the beginning stages. We're all designers, and we all have this passion for outdoor. So we put a lot of thought of features that would make that experience even better, when you were sleeping in the comfort of your own vehicle there. The base extenders, Howard, is what you may be mentioning, that extend that platform by close to 12 to 14 inches. So somebody that may be 6 foot or even up to 6'6" in some vehicles, they can actually sleep fully extended in parallel in their vehicle, because we have these unique base extenders that fill the footwells of the vehicle, and they level out that platform over that gap, that area where your head would be if your head was facing the driver and passenger seat. That's one feature that, just through designing and concepting and using our talents that, we went to school for and we were educated on, and our processes, we were able to think through a lot of the pain points and improve the user experience of what a mattress should be in the vehicle. So I could speak to like our comfort valve, that you have the ability to open that up and release air pressure to maybe have a softer sleep through the night. And then, Howard, you spoke to one of our flagship ideas, and we credit a lot of the product designers here that we work with at our consultancy in STEL that we're moving the air out of one side to fold it underneath and sleep solo for an evening is an incredible opportunity to store gear on one end, but also just to have an independent bed. If you're sleeping with a partner or friend, when you're moving around, you don't feel every bump or every roll or a bathroom break in the middle of the night. So that's a nice little feature as well.
I absolutely love that. And so my goal, though, Pete, is I want to sleep on the full mattress. My vision is like, okay, how do I get stuff out of my car so that I can blow up the entire mattress, with a little bit of belongings that are going to stay in the car. But that's a whole other story. Yeah. What I would love to hear, so when did you sell your first Luno Life mattress, and who bought it?
That is such a great question. We sold our first mattress in 2019 or 2018, and it was a friend of ours Their names are Sam and Jared. And Sam and I were actually working together in the finance side of things. And I think she bought a mattress for maybe a quarter of the price of what they cost, just because she was our first customer. And
she had the friends discount.
She sure did. Yeah. And we put it in, an ordinary box. We didn't have boxes really that were branded at the time. We had a little office space, and our mattresses were on shelves bought from Home Depot. I mean, the room was tiny. You couldn't believe that we were even running a business out of it. It was so small from the shipping inventory. So yeah, we credit Sam and Jared for getting us off the ground, I would say.
Fantastic. So can you provide or paint a picture of who your purchasers are, or of the mattress? I mean, they're obviously finding you. I mean, COVID-19 in 2020, from my perspective, was the perfect opportunity to get out and explore. Again, it was another decision I made, and why coming out here was great. Mm-hmm. And so I would imagine you now have some data on the types of individuals who are investing in the Luno Life mattress. And perhaps, you can talk a little bit about who they are, and maybe there's some stories that you're hearing.
Yeah. So with COVID-19, we saw a great growth opportunity. Your vehicle is the perfect pod to social distance in. So our demographic, we went into designing this mattress for maybe like-minded or individuals maybe in their early or late teens to maybe 30s and 40s. But we were shocked. We had a massive amount of customers that were much older than that. So early on, we knew that we weren't designing a product just for our demographic that we initially thought that we were designing for. We had to expand that. Some of the first testaments to realizing this was when we went to Tuck Fest, which is at the National Whitewater Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a beautiful exhibit. They have events going on the whole weekend, and we had great weather for the most of the weekend, but we had a crazy storm in the beginning that took out some of our vendor tents. But that's another good story to maybe tell in another time. But the story I would love to bring up is an older or elderly couple. They purchased a mattress from us that weekend, and they, right there at the booth, they purchased one, and they went to a concert, I think, a few days after. I believe they had to be in their 60s or 70s, and they sent us a photo of them enjoying a night's rest after a concert they had attended, and they were tucked in, sleeping on the mattress and in the grass parking area designated for camping. At this point, we're like, holy smokes, these people are incredibly happy. They're sending us a thank you that they had an incredible night's rest and an affordable one. And we saw the value that, it's just not for kids, maybe, younger or, middle-aged adults. Like, we have to start designing and thinking about different ethnicities and all these age groups that can truly use the product, and they can span across the board there.
That's fantastic. It's something is kind of dawning on me. It's like in the back of my head as you're chatting with us, Pete. I'm thinking, hearing stories from some of your customers would be a great way to really, first of all, feed more into our Outdoor Adventure Series episodes, because, just getting out and exploring, and you've given folks now who don't have the RV. I mean, my niece and her family, they have this humongous, and I'm saying humongous, RV. And that's not me. Mm-hmm. I like but just, it would be kind of really cool to see how people are using, their car as their place of rest, using the Luno Life mattress. I'd love, maybe we could talk a little bit about bringing some of your customers onto the podcast to talk about their adventures.
That would be incredible. Our customers are why we exist. And the stories that come in, Howard, are just so inspiring. So to have the opportunity for, the people and fellow car campers of Luno, speaking to an audience that would love to listen to hear about their stories and, how they broke down barriers to get out there. We have fathers reconnecting with daughters and sons and fathers joining us on Luno dedicated camping trips that, pre-COVID, we could enjoy cookouts and hikes and drives and overlanding. So, and even down to people who may have been disabled and they're in a wheelchair and they can't sleep in a tent, but the car provides a more stable and level platform that they can have access from a wheelchair even into the back of their vehicle. Stuff you don't realize going into a company or a brand and how it inspires people. You're creating a culture that is very beautiful, and we love to continue to work and hear the voice of our customers, and to have that be voiced, on a podcast with you would be an amazing opportunity.
Fantastic. Well, definitely want to have that conversation with you and, Sarah, Allie, and just kind of talk more about that, because I think that's a wonderful addition to our outdoor adventure series. Now, Pete, I have a kind of a gotcha question. This is not a bad gotcha question. You'll get this. But as you look back through your life and your progression, I know you in some of the show note prep, you talked about, you were like the DJ, yeah. Behind the house, and you got paid in beer,
Yeah.
But
Right.
Looking back, what surprises do you see, and how you have progressed, personally, professionally, and some of the activities, products, work that you're involved in now? Because it's actually a very cool journey, but I'm curious what your perspective is of it.
My mind is instantly going to talking about relationships and how meaningful they are as you work through your careers. From the early stages of networking, getting that first job, playing music, like you mentioned, Howard, DJing at these events, to just going through school and getting into my career. I would say progressing through building networks and relationships has been ever important for me, and taking design and design methodology into what you're creating and being very thoughtful and almost a craftsman approach to, the product opportunities, and looking at the market and seeing, okay, this will work, and understanding I have to create this product to the best ability that someone could, use it and it will last. I think over time, I have just grown to think in many different ways that combines relationships and product depth of knowledge, and bringing those skill sets to the market is something I have seen progress over. So I'm not sure if that fully answers, but that's kind of what I'm thinking in the near term here.
No, I totally appreciate that. And as you're sharing that, I'm looking at the show notes that I prepped for today, and based on information that you shared prior.
Yeah.
And you talked about some of the projects that you worked on, the companies under Armour, Bosch, Fitbit, and those are some of them are very unique products.
Mm-hmm.
But what I really love about Luno Life is, and the work that you're doing with it, is these products are really having a real impact on people's lives. I mean, you can see it and hear about it. And again, even the stories from this couple that were at the music festival, or the individual that was disabled, is you're actually experiencing the impact that this product has on their lives. And I love that, because there's so much we take for granted. And I think this past year, 2020, we took a lot for granted. And, people are talking about things aren't going to go back the way they were. And in some ways, that's true. In product like the Luno Life mattress and some of the ancillary products associated with it now are having such an impact on people's lives. And it's going to definitely be exciting to see how that continues to evolve. Before we end, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience? Now, I do want to get into the social sites, but any other tidbit, maybe, an article, a TED talk, or, something that really, kind of is insightful for you that you might want to add before we sign off on today's episode?
Yeah, I would love to kind of speak to just like the mission, that we're trying to do here. And it's a mission to bring people outside, Howard, like you spoke to, of involving some of our customers. So we, as an outdoor community, I think we'd love to inspire people to try to bring different ethnicities and different demographics outside. So looking at the people around you, if you're in the hustle and bustle of your career, understanding that this outdoor space can really bring peace and community to your lifestyle. So I would just say, keeping it simple and trying to understand, how you can enjoy this outdoor space, staying out of the hustle and bustle, and trying to bring people around or near you, looking at opportunity there of, what products can help you do that, and hopefully believing in those. And so we would encourage people in that way, just to maybe keep a focus on that, and hopefully, continue to see the value there.
Fantastic. I love it. Pete, before we head out today, if our listeners would like to learn more about you as an individual or about Luno Life and its products line, where are the best places for them to go?
Please visit the website. That is lunolife.com. And then we have an Instagram that is luno.life. And we're also on Facebook and LinkedIn. And then I am on LinkedIn. I don't keep the most up-to-date profile on that platform, but happy to connect people there. Or, Howard, maybe we can even share my email. More than happy to connect with people. And that's just, pete.ducato@lunolife.com. Fantastic.
Well, we really appreciate it. Pete, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on Success Insight, the Outdoor Adventure Series. And again, I want to personally thank you for the Luno Life mattress. I'm so glad I was introduced to you via, thank God for YouTube videos and being able to do research. You have been, and this product has been integral for me, being able to get out into Mojave National Preserve, Death Valley, and in one place in Arizona that I will never go back to, but that's a whole other story. But I was sleeping on the mattress. That was the most comforting part of the entire journey, let me tell you. But really appreciate you taking time and sharing your journey, the evolution of Luno Life, and really definitely want to continue to explore perhaps bringing some of your customers who are willing to kind of share a little bit about their journey. I think it'd be a great addition to the Outdoor Adventure Series. So thank you so much.
Howard, thank you for taking the time and involving us. This is wonderful just to be with you on the podcast today. So appreciate you and looking forward to hearing from the others.
Fantastic. All right, folks, we have just been chatting with Pete Ducato. He is one of the founders of Luno Life. And really, from an entrepreneurial spirit as a young kid, playing music in the backyard, to going into industrial design, to feeling the pull to move out west, and really embracing his love of the great outdoors, and really with his friends and colleagues. He mentioned Sarah and Allie, and we're going to hopefully have them back onto our podcast as well within the Outdoor Adventure Series. And really this product, the Luno Life mattress, it has enabled me to get outside and explore. For one, and right now they're just 1-day trips, but there's probably going to be a 2-day trip coming up. But definitely, folks, as Pete said, get outdoors. This is a great opportunity. And this product, if you've ever thought about it, if you've got that SUV, I've got the Crosstrek, but you can now use your car as your home away, literally as your home away from home. So I hope you enjoyed today's podcast to learn about, again, Pete and the evolution of the Luno Life mattress. And really, we're also excited to hopefully get some of his customers back onto the podcast to talk about their outdoor adventures as well. So, folks, if you enjoyed today's podcast, please let us know by commenting on our webpage, successinsightpodcast.com. You can find us also on Facebook and LinkedIn on our Success Insight podcast pages. And we are on the major podcasting platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and especially Spotify. And we have an entire series devoted to the outdoor adventure space. And so this is where today's episode with Pete will eventually show up. So you'll be able to download and hope maybe even listen to this episode while you are on your outdoor adventure, sleeping in the comfort of your car on the Luno Life mattress. And folks, again, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there, have a phenomenal day. And we will see you on the next episode of the Success Insight Podcast. Take care now.
Success Insight is a production of Fox Coaching and First Story Strategies. Find us online, successinsightpodcast.com.